o'clock tonight.
I know, exactly.
So it worked out okay.
We were there so long yesterday. Oh my God.
Was there a lot of back to schoolish people? And
actually, it was not busy at all, and I thought it would have been a nightmare, especially at the stores. Go to?
Oh, it was like Asian Central in Walmart. I don't know.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
I didn't think I was in Ontario. But whatever.
So I was just actually listening to the recording of like the 5-star call. I couldn't go yesterday to it. And Miguel talked, and they are going to have a flash sale at the end of every month.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to try and share the call with you guys. Like, he doesn't usually record them. But yeah.
I think that's almost too much.
I know. Like so I had to turn it off right when he said that. So I didn't hear like the discussion around it. But don't you?
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do every month.
Like, I feel like that PDF that I made today, like if someone has if they are just desperate, right? Like Stacey Frassen, for example, like she just will not get 6. So she's like, I am just sending this to everybody and I don't care. So if there's people like that, they can use that PDF anytime because there's no dates on it. But I just feel like that makes us look like Walmart. Like,
I don't want that.
I just don't think that you would, I don't know.
I think it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And it's like, I think it's, no, actually, this is my office. This is where I do this. I'm not going somewhere else. I finally got Andy to bed. I'm like, you need to be in bed by 7 or this is going to be real bad. Oh, well, honey, you can go to your room. Okay. He's mad at me because I'm talking in my office. What was I going to say? I think it would almost become annoying for people on social media if every month, like I almost felt like I was getting annoying after a few days of like, oh, don't forget flash sale. Like, I can't even imagine doing that again this year, really. Like,
I know. I totally agree. It's not, maybe we can ask Arnauld about his opinion.
Hi. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I just booked myself back to back. I should always.
Oh, that's okay. No worries.
Calls.
We were just we could use your opinion on this.
Yeah.
I was actually just listening to the recording of yesterday from Miguel.
Yes. Yeah.
So we just did a flash sale and it was really, it was pretty successful, I would say. Like, Justine blew up the whole page. But yeah, she did really great. But I was really surprised when I heard Miguel say he was going to do that potentially at the end of every month. Does that seem like a lot?
So it's interesting because what my recommendation would be, don't pull that every month. I would do every 3-4, maybe 3-4 times a year. Don't do it every month.
Yeah, we as a team, we had kind of said maybe twice a year. This is not we're worth the value. You don't want people waiting. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we were on the right path.
Absolutely not. So it's a good point. I actually just got off a call with a coach, and she mentioned to me. So actually, I've got some fresh ideas on that. Literally, her volume quadrupled the week that she did the flash sales. He just went, right? So the way I would use flash sales is in a couple of ways. Number one, look at your year. Here's literally homework that I would have you guys do. And some of you don't like numbers, so you might have to have your significant other do this for you. Map out your income over either the calendar year from January to now or over the past 12 months, okay? I would recommend do it just for this year and look from January to August, and it's going to look something like this, honestly. Well, I can't. I don't want to. You're going to see this. You're going to see the first quarter will probably be it's going up, right? And then the summer months, he sort of gets a bit stable, maybe down. And then you have sort of a bleep, like in June or July. Whenever, after summit, typically we see another bleep, like up. Then it gets stable again, sort of your July, August. Then it goes back up in the fall, like late fall, right? So in those months where you're stagnant or you're down, that's when you do leadership retreats. That's when you do flash sales. That's when you pull sort of those things out so that, tactically you can, keep the momentum going, because we know momentum is something that once you have it, don't let go of it. Like, you should never let go of momentum. And so to me, it's not something that I would do all the time, right? So that's one. The second thing is, and I said this, I don't know if you caught that in the recording. The second thing is, you've got to prosper where you're planted. I think way too many people, especially in times where things get a little bit slower, want to look at the latest and greatest. Like, you look at Brooke Lipoff's national wake-up call, and you go, okay, that's it. I'm going to change everything, and I'm going to start doing what Brooke is doing. And I would tell you to not do that. I would tell you to just kind of, to focus on what you do and what you do the very best. Because for two reasons. One, you've developed enough of momentum and expertise in that, that's one. And then two, because of one, it's easier to teach that to your new coaches. Imagine trying to teach that to your brand new coaches. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work, right? And so that's going to be very, very important. And so as we sort of look at where we are right now, is we're headed into September, right? So one, make sure that nobody gives up on their goal. And the moment you let, and I remember, and sorry if I'm rambling, I've got ideas coming out as I'm speaking, literally. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but I remember as, playing sports, in high school, I thrived the most when my coach was actually the hardest. I had literally two sorts of coaches. The first coach was this hard ass, and he was telling us what to do, and he was making us, condition and run up and down and do all these drills. And man, there was a lot of discipline. Now, interestingly, I was sitting on the bench. I wasn't one of the active players. I was on the bench. The second coach, it was later on in my career, and he was sort of this lax guy. We used to call just 2 plays. In basketball, you should have 6 to 7 plays. We used to call just 2 plays. We didn't work out a lot. We didn't do a lot of conditioning. We did a lot of drills with the basketball, which signed me up. If I'm a 15, 16, 17-year-old, I want to just go out there and play basketball. I don't want to do the hard work of conditioning, running up and down, and and doing squats and doing all that stuff. And while that was fun, we didn't win a lot of games, and I don't feel like I developed as an athlete, as a player. And so for you, as you look at your coaches, you got to hold your coaches to the same standards that you hold yourself. If you hold yourself to a high standard, why not hold your coaches to a high standard? But before I do that, let me remind you, you have to have their permission. Just because they sign up with you as a coach, it doesn't mean that they're going to do whatever you want them to do. You've got to get to a commitment. And we just repeat that all the time. But you've got to get their commitment of the time that they're actually going to give to this business, because you need to let them know that it is a business. Because if you don't, and you need to then let them know what it means that this is a business. It means that I'm going to check in with you. It means that I'm going to ask you to jump on some calls. And it means I'm going to ask you to do some things that you typically are not doing, because this is something else you're going to add to your day or replace something else that that you're currently doing, right? That's the first thing. That's the easy part. The hard part is to now then set up checkpoints to check in with them. It's an old adage. Like if performance is not measured, right, and rewarded and recognized, it's not going to be optimized. If we're just kind of out there and just doing drills and no conditioning, not doing any of the hard stuff, you can never expect them to grow and to make things happen. And so the same standards that you hold yourself to are the standards that you should have your coaches live up to, right? So now let's look at the balance of the year. So you've got September, October, November, December. September is sort of, to me, your back to school month. The people that were giving you excuses that it's summertime and, the kids are at home and all that. Well, there goes that excuse, right? The people that, were not doing anything in the summertime, should be well rested now. They should be ready to go again. This month, you've had enough of a break. It's time for you to go. You have to have it come to Jesus with them, right? So that's September. Now, October, we've got, in Canada, we've got the pumpkin spice, that's launching. That's going to give you some extra volume. Yes, right, Heidi? She agrees with that. I think that's going to sell out. I think for you guys, what you need to do is you need to just make sure that the troops are ready to go, because that's going to give you some volume boost, right? If you do it right, because there is limited quantities available. So it's like you have to be ready for that. You have to anticipate that. And you literally in your groups have to get a commitment of who's going to purchase the moment it's available. Like, don't wait for it to happen. Don't wait for 2 weeks before. Do it a month ago and make sure that you have a specific plan of who's going to purchase it and recognize the crowd out of those people that are going to purchase it, right? And it's just something fun for the whole group to do. So you've got that pumpkin spice. You've got the shift shop, proving grounds that are coming out. There's a few other things that we want to, we're playing around with that will give it even, the month of October more if you will, that will drive, more volume. But again, you have to anticipate it. It's not going to happen on its own. And then obviously as November approaches, now you're looking at Transform 20, which is going to be a blockbuster. I mean, anything Chanty touches basically turns to gold, right? So if you know that, what can you do right now, to anticipate that, to build, like, I'm not worried about you guys doing your sales. I'm not worried about it. Like, you guys know how to do it. It's preparing it's preparing your team. It's preparing your coaches and making sure that when the time comes, they're ready to deploy, they're ready to execute. And this serves as a force multiplier for them. As you guys know, your coach's sort of motivation will go up and down, right? Up and down. And sometimes they'll need that, that push, that Zoom call, whatever it is to just keep them in the game. What's even better is when they get some results, when they get some small wins, right? They get some small wins. You need to go back to your coaches and help them get some small wins. Now, you can leverage what we've got coming up, these next few months, or you can just reach out to them, okay, and challenge them to do some hard things and focus some more, especially in the month of September. For those that haven't done much in the past few months, right, they need some small wins. So it's not going to start by them getting a bunch of results. It's going to start by them getting, like, really engaging in activity, like doing their vital behaviors, like posting again and messaging people. Right, and following up, because guess what? Right now, they're telling you they're doing it. They're not. They're really not doing it, right? And they're 2xing, 3xing. They're telling you they're doing 2-3x what they're actually doing. They're not doing as much as they're telling you they're doing. It's a fact, right? So now it's going back to that. Going back to them and basically saying, okay, so what is something, so let's say, Darlene, you're talking to one of your coaches and you're saying, okay, Jane Doe, what is something that you feel you can do that you haven't done in the past month, okay? And let them tell you, whether it's SC5, whether it's like posting there before and after again, whatever it is, and then say after that, do I have, you've heard me say this before, do I have your permission to hold you accountable to that, right? Because some of them you just need to jumpstart it. Some of them it's like cars that have been sitting there in the winter and they haven't turned on that car for a while, right? And some others is going to be the car that's already going that just needs more fuel. And for them, all I want you to focus on is just breathe more belief in them. You don't need to tell them more tactical stuff. You don't need to tell them how to run a flat tail. Like, they need more belief in them. Right? They just need more belief in them at this point, right? And so have I told you guys about this book before? People Follow You. I've never told you about it. It's a great book. I would actually recommend two different, right? Because where you're at as a Beachbody coach, and these really have helped a lot of people. So this one, people follow you. Obviously, it's about leadership, right? You know, how do people follow you? What makes you worthy of being followed? You know, what are some of the tactics of the influence that you have to have, right? So that's this one. The other one is this one by Darren Hardy, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Okay, it's like it's up and down, right? It's like have I talked about the what it means to be bipolar here at Beachbody? Have I ever said that? It's like, you know, one time you're like, oh my gosh, I love this business so much. It is the best thing since sliced bread. And the next time you're like, if that challenger asks me one more question that I've answered 500 million times, I'm going to just gouge my eyes out. And the next thing you know, oh my gosh, you know that coach, that one coach that I didn't think would ever do anything, she signed up a coach. Like, this is the best thing ever, right? And then you go to my best friend. She said she would freaking build this business. She said she really needed this. And now she's like in the witness protection program. I can't find her anywhere. Like, what the hell is happening here, right? It's like roller coaster. You have to enjoy the roller coaster. It's up and down. Like when it's up, great. When it's down, great. It's part of it. It's part of it. Like, get out of your feelings. Like, you cannot be in your feelings about this and that and what's happening, you know, with my business. It's not you. It's the process. It really is part of the process. Now, I underlined a few things that I wanted to share with you guys from this book, and I really hope that you pick it up, right? As a leader, how many of you sometimes struggle when like a coach that you sign up doesn't do well? How many of you will go, man, what am I doing wrong? Like, what? That's the first thought that you say, what in the world am I doing wrong, right? That's the first thing that you tell yourself. And I'm like, whoa. And it's hard. Being a leader is hard, right? Like, everybody wants to glamorize it and talk about it until you actually do it, because it's an action. It's something that you do. It's not a noun. It's something that you do. Until you get there, it's really, really hard, right? So one of the chapters here talks about investing in yourself, but also being confident and courageous. Leadership takes confidence and courage, right? So one of the things that he says, one of the most important keys to getting people to follow you is your confidence and courage to be decisive. Think about it. Do you enjoy being around people who lack confidence? Neither do your people. So you have to work on that confidence at all time. And here's the thing. Sometimes when people say, I'm going to like fake it till I make it, you're not faking it till you're making it. You're conditioning yourself and you put yourself out there and it's uncomfortable, but yet you do it. That's what you need to do, including telling people what to do, including being very confident in your leadership in the direction that you tell the team. Like, you have to have that. The moment there's like a bit of like a questioning, you're inviting questions from your coaches. Essentially, that's what you're doing. Here's another passage that I really like. It says, you choose what to believe about yourself and your abilities. You choose how you will approach your people. You choose to improve your knowledge and do your homework. You choose to invest in yourself, mind, body, and spirit, right? And so what I love about this is, like, it goes back to, like, if you truly want to take care of your coaches, don't forget about taking care of yourself. Don't forget about doing your workout and doing your personal development. I'm telling you, it seems like second nature to most of you because, you know, you do personal development. Like, you know, that's what you do. You're working out, you're doing personal development. You constantly need to just add back to that belief, you know, in yourself. Because if you don't, if you don't do that, matter of fact, if you don't do that, every time someone in your team or your challengers that doesn't do well, you're going to be pointing the fingers at you. And you're always going to be taking on all that burden going, it's me, isn't it? It's all me. When really, you are as clear as you could be on what they specifically need to do to experience success. It's not up to you. Their success and their failure does not depend on you. It doesn't depend on you. You set the pace. You lead by example. But once you've done that and you've told them exactly and you've made the instructions very, very clear, there's nothing else you can do. There's nothing else you can tell them. that will make them either successful or not successful, right? Okay, so here's another one here. Be authentic, okay? So we always say, what do you tell your coaches? Please stop copying what I'm posting. Be authentic. I think one of the funniest things that I've ever seen, it was like early in my career, and there was this guy, it was like this big guy, he played rugby, he lived in like St. Louis, Missouri, and he made a post, and I looked at that post, and it was a picture of him, and I was like, that post sounds so familiar. And then I started going through my friends, and I saw that Lindsay Matway had posted the same exact thing that he posted. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? Like, that, no wonder he does. It sounds like so fabricated. Like, he's like, he's putting in like some verbiage that just doesn't sound like this big burly guy that plays rugby that's out of, St. Louis, Missouri, compared to like, Lindsay Matway. And I'm going, my goodness, that is crazy. Like, be authentic. So you guys always talk to your coaches about being authentic. What I would challenge you to do is also be authentic with your coaches, right? Be authentic with your coaches and approach your coaches the way that you would want to be approached. You would want your coach to be authentic with you and to speak authentically with you and to speak directly with you, to not cut any corners. And so here's what it says here about being authentic. Authenticity is the child of confidence. If you're confident, you're going to be confident enough to be authentic, to be yourself. When you develop and maintain self-confidence, you overcome the temptation to pretend to be something or someone you are not in order to stroke your own ego, okay? To stroke your own ego. So in your mind, you're thinking, I should be here, I should be there, I should be a gazillion star diamond, I should be XYZ, like insert whatever it is. That's your ego speaking. Are you wanting to be there because that's truly what you want or what you've seen other people do, right? Use other people as an example of what's possible, but you can't start judging your journey and your results on what other people have done. Like, this is where you need to stay in your lane. You need to focus on your journey, because the journey of someone else is completely different than the journey that you're taking right now. And if you're telling this to your coaches about be authentic and, focus on yourself and put the blinders on, why are you not doing it yourself as a leader? Why are you comparing yourself, right? It's so interesting. We have a 5-star, diamond and above, thread, mastermind. And it's a Zoom call, and, every 5-star is invited, but it's not every 5-star that shows up. And when I start digging into why, basically some of them don't feel worthy to be there. They're comparing themselves to others, right? And these are 5-stars. These are people that have accomplished. Some of them are double, triple time elite coaches, right? And they're not showing up because they're comparing themselves, right? The worst thing you can do if you're around people, and it would be to compare yourself. And quite frankly, this could be you in this case. If there's someone or something or an environment that you're in that leads you to that, you need to remove the ego so that you can actually absorb the information better. Because if the ego is there, you're going to say, I already know that. I already know that. And you're not absorbing anything, right? It's like, I know it all. I know it all. There's nothing that I can learn. And we know for a fact that it takes multiple times to hear something before actually internalizing and applying that thing, right? And so what I would tell you to do is, if there's people that you follow even right now, and you find yourself comparing yourself to those people, then unfollow them. And follow them. Like, it's not serving you at this point, right? Don't pay attention to what they're doing unless it inspires you to actually drive and be a better leader and a better coach. Then unfollow them, right? Unfollow them, right? Anyway, that's a really good book. It goes on and on. It says most people are so focused on themselves and their problems that they are unaware of the impact their dour look, the dour look they have on their face impacts the people around them. So this is not about your face. This is about, so the title is Never Forget That You're Always on Stage. You're always on stage by what you do, by the posts you make, by the interactions that you have with your fellow coaches. All those things, basically, you're on stage because Your coaches are not watching what you say, they're watching what you do, right? So always be paying attention to that, which is very important. Let me say this, as we enter sort of, the last stretch of August now, it's going to be very important to not let these final 3 days just go, right? Right now is when you actually double down. Right now is when you grab those people that maybe have, forgotten about their goals, and you reach out to them and you help them with maybe some simple successes, right? What are some simple successes? And start with activity, right? So here's my challenge to you, okay? You guys up for a challenge? Okay. It was a very rhetorical question because the challenge was coming when you said yes or no. Okay, so here's the first thing. I want you to go into your team pages right now, and I want you to really do a strong call to action, okay? Let me give you an example of a strong call to action. I want to just give you a quick example. And again, you need to make it your own, okay? Let me share this here. I'm going to share my screen. There was something that was posted. Just 1 second here. So many posts. It was actually Angie Belmar that posted this. Okay. Let me just share this, okay? All right. Let me share my screen, and I'll show you quickly here. All right. Okay. I love when she says, I'm sorry, this might offend some, because she's about to offend some indeed, right? Yes, you can take a screenshot, but just make it your own. Don't be like that Midwestern guy copying everything that Lindsay Matway posts, okay? Make it your own, all right? So this is in her PS Coaches group, okay? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically all that is, she talks about, she's basically calling them out, okay? There's some choice words in there. You can say fetch instead of the other F word. You could say whatever you say. But basically right now what she's saying is like, I ask you, okay, what was the goal you set for August? What was the goal you set for 2018? What is your dream big goal for yourself and your family, okay? Now, let me ask you another question. Why are you allowing any of those goals to be but an option, right? There's a lot of people that are taking their goals as an option instead of a must, right? I call BS, okay? Then she goes on, she basically says, what are you doing right now, okay, to make sure that you crush the bleep out of your Success Club and Rank goal this month, right? You have the tools, you have the support, you have the reasons, you have the time. Sometimes people just need to be shaken up a bit. Like they're going through this lull, like it's been summertime. We just came back from the cottage. We just went to Disney. Like they're sort of like, rocking back and forth. And you need to come to Jesus with them, right? You need to kind of just wake him up a bit, right? So that's number one. I want you to post something like that into your group, okay? That's straightforward, right? Fair enough. They need something like that. After you've posted that, okay, pay attention to who likes and comments or even views. There's those that view that don't like or comment, okay? There's those views. Out of those, I want you to pick between 5 and 10 people, okay, or 3 to 5 people, depending on the size of your organization, and I want you to reach out to them. Those are people that are kind of on the cusp, okay? Those people that you haven't talked to for a while, you don't know where they're at. Like, are they going to build? Are they going to just kind of like stick around until, the flower dries up and they don't have any more energy? Like, reach out to them. And then the challenge that I want you to give them is, hey, listen, Jane, Joe, whoever, okay, ask them those questions. So if I remember right, your goal was to be XYZ. How are you doing with that? How has the past month been? I want you to know that I'm focused fully on working with coaches these next 4 months. And I think you have the potential. Now, I don't know if you're close to 1 star or diamond or whatever the goal is, but here's what I think would be possible. I won't even give you a goal. What I propose we do is we start small, and I propose that you start by getting back to doing the vital behaviors. and you share with them like the Empower Hour tracker, something simple, right, that they can actually do and recognize their activity. Don't focus on the goal, focus on the activity, okay? That's number one. So I guess that's the second sort of challenge. The last challenge that I would give you is some of your people, they're like completely out. Like, they're not going to do much, but they have a few people under them that are doing something, right? Your goal is to reach down to those people. Your goal is to reach out to those people because, and again, some of those people might be on your strong side and they don't immediately benefit you from an income perspective. If they're on your weak side, understand that those are your PS coaches, right? So what I would challenge you to do is to reach out to those people. Treat them like your PS coaches because those are workers, right? And this is a business of momentum and confidence and energy, right? You need some energy. You need to focus on those people that give you energy. And trust me, you're going to need it after talking to that second group. Because some of those you might talk to them and go, all right, Jane Doe, you're completely out. Or Joe Smith, okay, I still see a heartbeat. Maybe we can get it going, right? But that third group of people, those people they're your PS coaches, that's who you work with, because when you get energy, right, you have more energy for your team, and they need the energy. And although they're not your PS coaches, I guarantee they're going to give you the confidence to also kind of, get back to building mode yourself, right? But ultimately, I challenge you to look at your goals that you set at the beginning of the year. I challenge you to look for other people like you. I challenge you to raise your expectations. Like severely shock your current expectations and get out of whatever funk that you're in if you're in a funk. Okay? You need to challenge yourself. You can't accept status quo. I don't accept status quo. And I'm telling you, sometimes you kind of get comfortable. Especially in corporate, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do my calls, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do you just kind of get into this rhythm. And honestly, that's the worst thing that you can do. You need to shock the system again, remind yourself of your goals, and double down on your activity. And double down on your conviction of what you absolutely can do, right? And trust me, as I'm sharing this with you, I'm speaking to myself too. I challenge myself constantly, and it's not easy. All I know is, it's worth it. I get to a point where I detach myself from the outcome, I numb myself from the outcome, and I'm just focused on the activities, laser focused on the activities. So I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to raise your leadership lid because your team deserves it, your family deserves it, and I know your coaches deserve it as well. And you absolutely deserve it. So I'm ready to run. I'm ready to run for the rest of the year. I think we've got some incredible things planned for the balance of the year. I challenge you guys to reach out, to your team. And then here's what I'm going to ask you to do, at least those that are on here. In about a week, between now and the week, report back to me. Just message me. I think we're all, Facebook friends. Just report back to me on these next 3 days. How are you finishing these next 3 days? How is your team responding? What obstacles do you have? Personally, we didn't have time to go into, your own business, but would love to just follow up with you guys and see what, how I can help, because there's always a solution. There's always a solution. So listen, I believe in you. I love this team. I really, really enjoy, the focus that you guys have, and the sort of the never give up attitude that you have. And, I'm in the trenches. So here we go. Let's keep pushing. And thanks for having me, Michelle. Look forward to hearing back from you individually.
Yes,
and
crush it. Awesome. I have to say, just to your Angie's thing, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and this quote, "What's your why worth?" really resonated with me. It's asking your coaches, you told me this is what you want to do, and what's that worth to you? Really, holy shit, you want to take your kids to university. Well, why aren't you trying to make that happen? So I don't know. It was by Sarah Robbins, the girl
What's your why worth? That's a good one.
What's your why worth? I don't know if you guys ever listened to her. I think I've given some of you guys the book. She's from Roden and Fields.
Okay.
She's, How to Rock Your Network Marketing. She has a book out, whatever. But her podcasts, they're really short, but they're totally to us. Like she speaks to network marketers. She doesn't speak to makeup people. She speaks to kind of like how Melanie has her podcast that anybody could listen to.
Mhm.
And she has some good little tidbits. But what's your why worth? I just loved it. So
Good
kind of
stuff.
that. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It always pumps me up anyways.
Of course, of course. Well, listen, I hope that you guys have a great end of the month. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Seriously, I mean it. And I hope that you take the time to message me. So, all right.
You. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks so
All
much.
right. Good seeing you guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.
That was good.
Yeah.